is a selfless act.
Right.
Outside, I would say, of bearing a child, it's probably one of the most selfless acts that one human being can do, because you are to become one flesh with another person that didn't grow up in the same household that you grew up in, that didn't experience the same experiences that you did, just didn't live the life that you lived. So when you come into your marriage, you have to come into it knowing that there's going to be some opposites, there's going to be some differences.
Right.
So we have to do what I like to call have a give and receive kind of attitude, right? You give because you love the other person. And in turn, you'll end up receiving something from them because they love you too.
Right.
Hello there, I'm James Lee.
And I'm Tasha Lee.
And we are Elevate Marriages.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back. So, we are marriage mentors experienced in love. 20 years in August.
Yes, we're very excited about that, though. I think that's a great accomplishment for us. I mean, I thought it was a great accomplishment at year 1. So, hey, at year 20, I'm still pretty elated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we come to you bringing you what we feel like God gives to us in this ministry to help those that are looking to stay in love, be in love, keep their marriage exciting. And,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of take everything, serious in keeping your marriage intact. So
strong, growing, loving.
Yes. That's why we're here.
That's right. And not only do we do this on this platform through social media, but we also do it one-on-one. So if we can support you, help you, and encourage you in any way on a one-on-one basis, please give us a shout out and we'll be more than happy to help.
Absolutely. You can reach us any of the social media platform inboxes or email us at thelees@elevatemarriages.com.
Yes.
So share this with anyone that you think that might be able to use it. But as we dive in, we wanted to kind of discuss what we call the terrible twos.
We've heard that before.
We've heard that from a young man who wrote a book, Jay Wesley is his name. He wrote a book called Right is Wrongs. His idea of it was a little bit different. Good information that was in there, but when we saw the title, it kind of made us think about the marriage game. And it's like, you know what?
Terrible twos. Now, I'll tell you, of course, the first thing, I read the book, so that was a little different for me. But when we think about terrible twos, we usually think about children.
Yes.
And now, why is it the terrible twos and they go through whatever they go through at that time? I guess they really start to have a little bit more independence and they start...
little attitude. They get their own voice.
No, it's usually the voice that they find for whatever reason. But this is a little bit different.
It is.
A little bit different.
It is. And albeit there's some similarities in acting like a 2-year-old and some of the things that we're going to cover.
Right.
It is different when you look at them in comparison to the two, what Jay Wesley wrote and what we're going to go over. So here's some twos that we consider to be terrible.
We thought about too much yelling.
Yeah, too much yelling. Quite honestly, there shouldn't be any yelling.
Because you can talk to me in a normal voice and I can hear you just fine. My hearing is great. My hair covers up my ears, but I still hear perfectly fine.
Absolutely. Your inside voice is what we call
yes.
that. You better use it before I have to put you outside.
Nobody wants to go outside.
No.
Nobody wants. And it's been raining in Houston. Nobody wants to go outside.
Absolutely. So, too much yelling.
Right.
Unacceptable, right? What else we got?
Too selfish.
Yeah. Marriage in itself is a selfless act.
Right.
Outside, I would say, of bearing a child, it's probably one of the most selfless acts that one human being can do, because you are to become one flesh with another person that didn't grow up in the same household that you grew up in, that didn't experience the same experiences that you did, just didn't live the life that you lived. So when you come into your marriage, you have to come into it knowing that there's going to be some opposites, there's going to be some differences.
Right.
So we have to do what I like to call have a give and receive kind of attitude, right? You give because you love the other person. And in turn, you'll end up receiving something from them because they love you too.
Right.
Right. So it's important to have that servant attitude. You want to give. You want to serve to that other person and be selfless in it, so that in turn, not just for the return, they too will have the same love for you, and it'll be reciprocated.
Yes. That just reminds me of the 2-year-olds as well. There's a lot
Selfish.
of yelling. They're very
mine.
Exactly.
That's mine.
And the other thing 2-year-olds do a lot, especially during the terrible twos, is too much fighting. You don't want that in your marriage either.
Right. You don't want it.
The back and forth, the verbal fights. God forbid we having any physical fights now.
If you're doing that, that is unacceptable.
Completely unacceptable.
You fool
Inappropriate. Now, let's not act
up.
like 2-year-olds, right?
Yes.
But that too much fighting. Let's not do that. We're in love with one another. Let's act like it, right? So that's one of the other things. Too much fighting. The other thing I wrote down was too many outside influences. This marriage is between you and I, right? So at the end of the day, the bottom line, it comes back to you and I. We want to give you a positive influence. We want to encourage your marriage and motivate you and all of those good things. But at the end of the day, it is about the two of you, and you accept advice, or you accept people speaking into your marriage that's going to help it to grow and help it to be strong, which is what we do, right?
Absolutely.
But when you have influences that tear down your husband or tear down your wife, tear down your marriage, those are the ones you have too many of. You want to leave that on the outside.
Yes.
And get back to the foundation of your own marriage.
Because many times we're all going to have our ups and downs. We're going to have circumstances that come up, and you'll get in a spot where you really you want to talk to somebody else, right? You want to say, you want to get it off your chest,
right.
So it's okay that you feel that way. I think a better conversation would be with your spouse and trying to work through whatever it is once you've been able to calm down. But when you do bring in a lot of people that are outside of your oneness, the fact remains is when you're ready to forgive your spouse, that other person that's equipped now with the information that you gave about your spouse, they may not be as easy to forgive. And now they're walking around your house. If they're coming over and for family events, they're giving them the side eye, or not wanting to talk to them. Or they
family,
might,
though, right?
Yeah, they might pick up the phone and call them. It's just you don't want to put your spouse in that position.
Exactly. And that's why sometimes it's easier to talk over those things with someone that's completely disconnected, someone who can, who's not biased, right? So that's mom is definitely going to be biased for me, or his dad's going to be biased for him, or whatever the case may be. You don't want it to be that. You want it to be someone who can be impartial.
Absolutely. How about too much time apart?
As in work purposes?
It could be work purposes. It could be you're both sitting in your beds, but everybody's like this.
Oh, mentally apart. Yes, that's
not
big.
Connected.
Mentally apart.
You're
okay.
not being intentional about connecting with your spouse.
And being together.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's big.
That's
Definitely.
big.
Definitely.
That is a terrible two as well. What else you got?
I have too busy.
Yeah.
Too busy with the kids, too busy at work, too busy being busy. You're always trying to find something to do.
Yeah.
Be together. Find some time together. Don't be too busy for your spouse.
Absolutely. You have to make sure that you are, again, my favorite word, being intentional about connecting with your spouse.
Yes.
That can become an issue. Before you know it, you're doing so much running for work and so much running for the kids and running for whatever else that's pulling you in all the other different directions.
Mm-hmm.
You look up and it's Saturday. You haven't connected. And then you got church on Sunday. And shoot, you're going back to work on Monday, so you haven't had any time to spend with your spouse. So make sure you do that. And while we're on busy, don't be too busy for God.
That's right. Too busy to pray for one another.
Absolutely. Make it a point to pray specifically for each other. Spending time to pray together, you get an opportunity
Absolutely.
to pray together. And I tell you, going to church, to being around others that are of like mind, visiting God's house, giving Him the time of worship,
Makes a difference.
it makes a difference in your marriage. I promise.
Because it makes a difference in you as an individual, which pours over, of course, into your marriage.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got any more? You got another two? One more?
Nope, I think that's all I had.
That's it.
Yes. Did I say too much silence?
Yes, you can do that too.
You can have too much silence. But I think we kind of touched on that. You know, when you are disconnected from one another and you're not talking, or you're giving a silent treatment because of an argument, too much silence can get your marriage in a world of trouble as well. Be able to communicate through issues, be able to communicate through good times too. Just talking to one another makes a big difference.
Absolutely. Because up in this house, it ain't going to be no silent treatment.
I'm
better
not
believe
quiet
that.
anyway, so that's probably not going to happen.
Absolutely.
So those are the terrible twos
Yes.
of marriage.
TOO.
That's
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Terrible twos. Don't act like a TWO with TOO.
Yes.
Much stuff in your marriage, right?
Absolutely. So there you have it. Share this with someone you think can use it. Like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you get the next video when it's actually out.
Yes.
And if we can do anything for you, just reach out to us. I'm James Lee.
And I'm Tasha Lee.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Peace.